Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today, especially you, Alex. Alex sent me an email today, actually. And I responded to it within 30 seconds, which was quite funny because he thought it was an auto response. But anyway, he told me apparently there's this story about this tank that this dude had in his basement, which sounds totally insane. So that is very intriguing. This old man had a 45-ton tank and some other stuff in his basement / garage. And he had a torpedo down there too, apparently. What the hell? Just when you thought Germany had strict gun control. The Heikendorf Panther. And this video is by Mark Felton Productions. Check him out, link down below. 2.2 million views. This is exciting. Let's see. How the hell do you hide that? How do you get that in the first place?
In July 2015, the world was stunned when the German police took possession of a strange collection of wartime relics in the basement of a house in Heikendorf near Kiel on the...
This dude must have a huge house. I mean, a huge house.
...of wartime relics in the basement of a house in Heikendorf near Kiel on the Baltic coast. There was an 88mm flak gun, a torpedo, and a large collection of firearms. Perhaps most interestingly, a Panther tank, all in excellent condition. A 20-person unit from the Bundeswehr used 2 Bergerpanzer tank recovery vehicles to drag the trackless Panther from its lair beneath the villa. How this story came about is fascinating and begins not with...
Wow, man. Wow. That is actually so remarkable. I say let him keep it, you know? He's clearly had it down there for like 50 years. So at this point, if you didn't catch him at this point, I say let him keep it. That's what I say. It's my opinion.
...with a tank, but with art, specifically Nazi art. Josef Torhack was an Austrian sculptor much favored by the Nazis. When Albert Speer completed his grandiose new Reich Chancellery for Hitler in Berlin in 1939, a pair of large equestrian bronzes were cast by Torhack, and they stood prominently outside the building facing the garden.
Okay.
In this German newsreel clip, Hitler distributes medals to Berlin defenders in March 1945. They are lined up along the terrace, with Torhack's equine bronzes above them just out of shot. The bronzes, like the building they front, were shell and bullet damaged. Snatched as loot by the victorious Red Army, the horses ended up in a Soviet barracks at Eberswalde in Germany. Then they disappeared just before the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. German police...
How do they just disappear?
...began an investigation to try and locate what was essentially state property, and many years later, in May 2015, found the horses hidden in a warehouse in Bad Dürkheim in the Rhineland. As part of this...
Oh my God, they really never forgot about those horses, huh? They've really been looking for those horses for 30 years. You would think, honestly, that's kind of impressive, because you would kind of think they would forget about them. Like, who would see those horses and be like, there they are! We've been looking for those for 40 years. Like, at a certain point, you'd think those people who even knew about those horses would have died.
This investigation...
I mean, I get that they're in pictures and stuff, but damn, are they that famous that you would just see them and be like, there they are, the Nazi horses. I'm looking for those.
Other properties were raided around Germany, including a villa on the shores of the Baltic at Heikendorf, whose millionaire owner had a back garden decorated with an important Nazi-era bronze. While searching the man's house...
I knew this dude had to be a millionaire. Obvious. I mean, I guess it's kind of obvious. It would have been cooler. It would have been even cooler if it was just some common man, like poor, and he dug out with a shovel a basement to hide the tank in and all this, the torpedo and everything. And he just had it hidden down there, like in his backyard. But for this dude to have even been able to transport this stuff and store this stuff in a basement, that alone would cost tens of thousands of dollars. But how do you do that with nobody knowing? That's insane.
The police discovered his other collection in the basement and moved to seize the vehicles and
I
weapons.
mean, they should have just turned his house into a museum. It sounds like it's a museum.
The problem was everyone locally knew about the Panther tank. How the collector had managed to acquire such a rare vehicle was not a mystery. He had personally resurrected it from the scrap pile over 40 years earlier. The Heikendorf Panther isn't strictly speaking a World War II Panther or even a German Panther. It was assembled from wartime parts in a factory under British management just after the war for British use. In May 1945, the Panther factory fell within the British occupation zone. The British management team consisted of Captain W.J. Hadlow and an NCO. The British were very keen to test both the Panther and the Jagdpanther. To do this, they required brand new vehicles, not wartime wrecks recovered off battlefields. Under the supervision of Captain Hadlow from the Corps of Royal Electrical and Mechanical...
I just had to say, that's a weird paint job. That's really what I'm thinking right now. Like, what the hell? What kind of camo is that?
Under the supervision of Captain Hadlow from the Corps of Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, completion work was done at the gun factory at Laatzen, south of Hanover.
Okay, once you look at it from this far, okay, interesting. The red is interesting. It's a cool looking tank.
As the roof of the Hanover factory had been destroyed by Allied
Look at the barrel on that sucker. Okay.
Laatzen, south of Hanover, as the roof of the Hanover factory had been destroyed by Allied bombing. Using available components, in total 9 Panthers and 12 Jagdpanthers were built and shipped to the UK for post-war trials. The Panther and Jagdpanther on display at the Tank Museum at Bovington were built as part of this immediate post-war batch. Another Panther tank is in a museum in Germany. This is also British built. And finally, there is the Heikendorf Panther. The Heikendorf Panther ended up in a scrapyard in Britain after being discarded by the army. In the early 1970s...
I say that's on them! That's on you guys. You put it in a scrapyard. How are you going to arrest the dude? Did they arrest him? I think they said he's arrested for going and getting it. Hey, he's actually cleaning up. You know, that's like environmentally conscious in a way. You don't just want that sitting in a scrapyard. He's at least putting it on display.
The German millionaire bought the Panther when the scrapyard was being cleared and had it shipped to Germany. By the late 1970s, the Panther was back in running order and was apparently often seen being driven around Heikendorf. It has been suggested
So he wasn't hiding it.
that the tank's engine was partially maintained by the Bundeswehr unit that looks after other World War II tanks in German museums. Also, the owner was in possession of a note from the local government issued in 2005 that stated that the Panther had been demilitarized, that is, the main gun could not fire live ammunition.
There you go. What's the problem?
But in July 2015, the Panther, other vehicles and weapons were all seized by the authorities. The Panther was sent to the German Army training area at Putlos for storage, where it remained.
They better have paid this dude. I mean, come on. This actually is kind of like, this seems like a miscarriage of justice right here. You're just going to go steal this dude's tank that he refurbished for you? It wouldn't even be working if it wasn't for him. It'd be in a scrapyard. I'm kind of mad. Is this guy like, I don't know. Am I out of turn here, guys? I feel like this guy's almost, I wouldn't go as far as to say he's a hero, but he's kind of a badass. No? Yes? Maybe? No? Unless he's like a Nazi or something weird. I don't want to say that, you know. I don't know what his intentions were, but they said this wasn't a Nazi tank, so.
Remains today. During the process of dragging the tank out of the villa's basement, it is alleged that soldiers damaged the front suspension of the $2.5 million vehicle. In January 2017, the owner was brought to court on violations of the War Weapons Control Act and weapons standards. For now, the ultimate fate of the Heikendorf Panther has yet to be settled.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh, wow, that was a fascinating story. I want to know what has come of it. Like, did the dude go to jail or anything? Oh my gosh, I guess he is still freaking anonymous. How do these people stay anonymous? You Germans do an amazing job, like, as far as keeping people anonymous who are involved in in criminal cases, but he's named as... I'm sure people know his full name. Maybe I can figure it out. Ha ha ha. Klaus Dieter Flick. Lawyer and wealthy former financial broker. Oh, he's a convicted Nazi art and military equipment collector. Is he a Nazi or is he just collecting the art? That's the part. See, maybe he's a... Maybe I have to denounce this guy. You know what I mean? I guess so. Oh, so apparently he tried to sell the horses for 8 million euros, and he listed them as Hitler's horses. So that's how he got caught. Would they... How... Oh my god, I can't believe they're worth 8 million euros. Holy. So, I don't know. I've skimmed through this dude's Wikipedia page now, and maybe he... It seems like maybe he's a weird dude, and maybe he's a Nazi. So... But I don't know either way. I can't say either way. I don't know. It seems kind of unclear whether he's just an enthusiast, like, collector or a Nazi. Either way, that's fascinating. Fascinating. You guys will have to let me know. I know you guys have more info than I do, obviously, about the story. Wow. Wow. Just when you thought you knew it all. Actually, I did not think that. But thank you, Alex, for sending that in. And thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.